Imagine a calm Sunday morning, the sky clear, the waters still. Out of nowhere, the world shakes with thunderous explosions, fiery destruction, and the cries of war. This was not just any day. It was December 7th, 1941, the day Pearl Harbor was attacked, a day that would echo through history forever. Welcome to Fact Hub Zone, where we uncover history's most shocking moments. Today, we take you back to one of the darkest days in American history, the attack on Pearl Harbor, an event that pulled the United States into World War II. From the meticulous planning by Japan to the devastation at the harbor, and how the world remembers this day every year, we'll dive deep into the story that reshaped the 20th century. Stay with us till the end, and if you enjoy thought-provoking content, don't forget to subscribe to Fact Hub Zone for more like this. Now let's talk about the events of that fateful day. In the early hours of December 7th, 1941, there was a calm before the storm. Pearl Harbor, a naval base located on the Hawaiian island of Oahu, was alive with routine. Soldiers were relaxed, enjoying their weekend. The United States, though involved in aiding the Allies in Europe, had not officially entered World War II. But 3,863 miles away in Japan, plans for an audacious strike were already in motion. Japan, seeking dominance in the Pacific, viewed the U.S. naval fleet at Pearl Harbor as a looming threat. Under the command of Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, a surprise attack was strictly advised to wreck the America's naval power. The attack begins. At 7:55 a.m. on December 7th, 1941, the skies over Pearl Harbor roared to life with the thunder of aircraft engines. The first wave of over 180 Japanese planes, fighters, bombers, and torpedo planes descended upon the unsuspecting U.S. naval base. In the first strike, their primary targets were the 8 battleships moored along Battleship Row. The USS Arizona suffered the most devastating blow when an armor-piercing bomb struck its forward magazine, triggering a massive explosion that engulfed the ship in flames and claimed over 1,100 lives. Nearby, the USS Oklahoma was hit by multiple torpedoes, causing it to capsize. Sailors, trapped inside, desperately banged on the hull, but many couldn't escape, resulting in 429 deaths. The Japanese also targeted airfields to neutralize any chance of a counterattack. Hickam Field and Wheeler Army Airfield were bombarded, destroying hundreds of aircraft before they could take off. In the second wave, an hour later, a second wave of 170 planes launched a fresh assault, further crippling the base. This time, they focused on shipyards, hangars, and auxiliary vessels. Smoke filled the air as fires raged uncontrollably, and the waters of the harbor were littered with debris and oil slicks. But amid this devastation, there was chaos and heroism both seen. Acts of bravery emerged. Crews aboard damaged ships fought to save their vessels, while others risked their lives to rescue wounded comrades. Civilians and medical personnel rushed to aid the injured, transforming chaos into an extraordinary display of courage. By the time the attack ended, over 2,400 Americans were dead, and the U.S. Pacific Fleet was in ruins. The harbor, once a symbol of peace, had become a battlefield. The attack on Pearl Harbor wasn't a spontaneous act of aggression. It was the result of months of meticulous planning and precision. Japan, facing economic sanctions and a growing oil embargo imposed by the U.S., saw its expansionist ambitions in the Pacific at risk. In response, they devised a bold plan to neutralize the United States Navy and secure dominance in the region. Led by Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the Japanese strategy revolved around the element of surprise. They knew Pearl Harbor housed the U.S. Pacific Fleet, a formidable force, but they believed a crippling blow would buy Japan enough time to establish a stronghold in Southeast Asia before America could recover. Espionage and intelligence. Japanese spies disguised as tourists and consulate officials gathered detailed information about Pearl Harbor's layout, ship placements, and schedules. This intelligence was crucial in deciding the attack's timing and targets. Meticulous training. Pilots underwent rigorous rigorous training to perfect the precision needed to strike battleships and airfields. Special modifications were made to torpedoes to ensure they could function in Pearl Harbor's shallow waters, a feat previously thought impossible. Deception tactics. To avoid detection, Japan maintained radio silence among the 6 aircraft carriers and their fleet during their journey across the Pacific. They took an indirect strategy to prevent American forces from intercepting their movements. Timing and strategy. The attack was scheduled for early Sunday morning, a time when many U.S. personnel would be off duty, minimizing resistance. This combination of stealth, innovation, and precision enabled Japan to execute an attack that stunned the world. However, their failure to target critical infrastructure like fuel reserves and aircraft carriers would later prove costly. Well, December 7th, designated as National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, is a solemn occasion in the United States. This day honors the 2,403 lives lost and pays tribute to the resilience of those who endured one of the most devastating attacks in American history. One of the most significant commemorations takes place at the USS Arizona Memorial in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. The memorial, built over the sunken remains of the battleship, is a poignant reminder of the lives lost that day. Visitors witness the tears of the Arizona, droplets of oil that still rise to the surface, symbolizing the enduring memory of the attack. The names of the sailors and Marines who perished are engraved on the wall of the memorial, ensuring they are never forgotten. At 7:55 a.m., the exact moment the attack began, a nationwide moment of silence is observed. In Pearl Harbor, this is often accompanied by the tolling of a bell and a military flyover, where aircraft soar above the harbor in honor of the fallen. Survivors of the attack, now few in number, gather to share their personal stories of bravery and loss, passing on their memories to younger generations. Across the country, flags are flown at half-staff, and ceremonies are held at military bases, schools, and government buildings. Documentaries and films are broadcast, educating people about the historical significance of the day and ensuring that its lessons are never forgotten. Through these commemorations, the legacy of Pearl Harbor remains alive, a reminder of the price of freedom and the importance of vigilance. The attack on Pearl Harbor was a seismic event that reshaped the trajectory of the United States and the entire world. Before December 7, 1941, the U.S. had maintained an isolationist stance, avoiding direct involvement in World War II. But the attack shattered this policy, compelling America to declare war on Japan the very next day. Internally, the United States underwent a profound transformation. The war effort ignited an industrial boom, turning the U.S. into the arsenal of democracy. Factories that once produced consumer goods shifted gears to manufacture weapons, tanks, and aircraft at unprecedented speeds. Millions of Americans joined the workforce, including a significant number of women, symbolized by icons like Rosie the Riveter. This economic mobilization not only helped win the war, but also laid the foundation for America's post-war prosperity. Militarily, the U.S. rapidly modernized its armed forces, focusing on advanced technology and strategic planning. One of the most iconic results of this was the development of the B-29 Superfortress, a long-range bomber capable of delivering massive payloads. This aircraft played a pivotal role in the U.S.'s retaliation against Japan, including the devastating bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. If you're curious about this deadly bomber and its impact, click the icon above to watch our detailed video. The deadliest bomber in history, the World War II flying superfortress B-29. Globally, the attack forced nations to reassess their security policies. It solidified alliances like the Allied powers and underscored the dangers of underestimating emerging threats. Pearl Harbor not only changed the course of World War II, but also positioned the United States as a global superpower, setting the stage for a new world order that would define the 20th century. As we close this chapter on Pearl Harbor, we're reminded that history is more than just dates and events. It's a collection of lessons, sacrifices, sacrifices, and moments that shape our present and future. The attack on Pearl Harbor didn't just pull America into a war. It transformed a nation, forged a stronger resolve, and set the stage for a global shift in power dynamics. But here's something profound. The resilience shown in the aftermath was not just military. It was deeply human. It showed how unity in the face of adversity can turn tragedy into a reason for change. Pearl Harbor remains a testament to vigilance and preparedness. It's a day etched in memory not just for its sorrow, but for the hope it inspired in rebuilding a stronger, more determined world. For more untold stories and gripping insights, subscribe to Fact Hub Zone. We're just getting started in uncovering the truths of history and their impact on our lives today. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next story.